Hello and welcome everyone. I hope you can all hear us okay. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar, the 5 Ps of Digital Transformation. Ooh. My name is Jack Wright and I'm the Sales Director here at YourDMS, and I'm delighted to be joined by Dominic, or Dom, Brook, the MD of Brook Corporate Developments. Morning Dom, you all right?
Morning Jack, yeah, pleasure to be on. Thanks for inviting me on.
Sorry for calling you Dominic, I know you prefer Dom.
I think I've been called Dominic since I was about 5, so.
So just before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping before we crack on with the presentation. This is recorded, so you will get a recording after, and if you know anyone that can't be on, they'll get the recording, and please be patient, it will always come tomorrow, so you're not going to get it straight away. During the presentation, if you do have any questions at all, there is a chat box on the right hand side, depending on it's displayed on your computer. Please type away, feel free, plenty of questions is always good, and we've got Sadie on hand to monitor that, and we'll come to them at the end. And then also we've got some exciting handouts that you'll also see, that we'll also discuss at the end, but you should still see that down there. So as I said, this is recorded, so if you do have to jump off or whatever, then feel free to do so, and you can catch up later on. So as I said, my name's Jack. I'm the Sales Director at YourDMS. My family-run business in the heart of Wiltshire. If anyone's been to Wiltshire, it's a lovely place, right near the Cotswolds. We can say it's the Cotswolds, just about. And we've been in corporation for nearly 15 years now, and our main purpose really is to lend a hand to businesses who want to improve, want to grow, and want to work alongside like-minded people like us. We aim to, or over the 15 years, we've built up an ecosystem of technology partners, professionals across the world, which actually allows us to provide the right solution to the right organization. Excuse me, I put my teeth in. Right organization. Because let's face it, doesn't matter whether you're in the same business sector, every business is run differently. You know, the people inside the organization are different, therefore they will have different ideas. And that's why our sales strategy is very much P2P. And what that means is people to people. So it's not business to business, it's not business to customers, or consumers, it's P2P. And we look for long outstanding relationships. We've got hundreds of customers up and down the UK, and one of them is here today in Dom and his business, and you're actually going to get a real life account today of our dealings with Dom and his journey on his digital transformation. So as I said, Dom, do you want to talk about yourself? Because I've just spoke about me. So do you want to talk about you and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Dom Brook from Brook Corporate Developments, same as Jack, family-run business. We're incorporated in 2011. We're a Yorkshire-based consultancy and training provider. So we specialise in providing growth opportunities or growth interventions to support change management within our clients, both from a consultancy and training standpoint. So we've delivered over in excess of 1,500 business support, business improvement projects via our team of specialist consultants, all the way from strategic support, lean optimization, ISO systems, leadership and management, sales training, you name it, we can do it. Our USP really is working with the organizations on a bespoke project level, understanding what the challenges are, creating a project for them, but then delivering that funded project via one of our funding schemes, which you can actually see on the bottom. We deliver via funding schemes called Made Smarter, which is helping organizations and manufacturers become digital. We've also then got some training, which is for organizations who are looking at upskilling some of their new staff, who've taken on new staff who are unemployed on the Maximus Restart program. So we really have a real diverse offering, and because we offer a bespoke solution, we can really make a project fit. So we started working with Jack kind of 18 months ago, didn't we, Jack, where we were looking at digitalizing our internal processes, and we'll come on to how we actually did that later on. Really exciting case study. I'm really excited to bring it to you.
Brilliant. Yeah, I can't believe it's been 18 months, to be honest. It's flown by, and I think it's because we've done a lot in that period of time. So it's yeah, it's good. So thanks for that, mate. So this is just some sort of like just some stats that we'd like to bring to because we are talking about digital transformation. This is about Dom. So Brook Corporate Developments and how YourDMS helped Brook Corporate Developments within that journey. But it's not just all us, it's not just all them, it's that partnership together. So I just came across some interesting stats that I know loads of people like stats. I, for one, love stats. So just going to run through these fairly quickly. So 50% of business owners say digital improvements have led to increase of revenue. I'm sure, Dom, you can sort of relate to that in a way, in not just physical money, but in terms of revenue and how your staff are thinking. And as we said, we're going to kind of go on to that later on. Customer satisfaction, again, this is probably another one for you, mate, as well. So customer satisfaction can increase by 20 to 30% following digital transformation. And I don't know whether have you put some stats together yourself in terms of your customer satisfaction at all?
We capture customer satisfaction anyway, so we've always had a customer satisfaction rating score at the end of every single one of our projects. Because we only launched the portal last year, which for everybody that's listening, you'll find out what our transformation project was. It was a fully integrated portal. We're still quite early in that data capture in terms of finding out what the customer satisfaction rates have been, not in terms of delivery, in terms of business support and having that communication channel with us. Early indications, which is kind of non-quantifiable, just through communications, being really, really positive. Everyone's been kind of really bought into what we're doing and how we're transforming our external processes to make communication easier with us. So I would imagine that we wouldn't be too far away from that score that you've got there, Jack.
Yeah. And I suppose, I mean, this is all because small to medium sized businesses like yourselves, Dom, and that's why we've kind of attracted the people we have today. But this, I mean, we deal with large organisations as well. It's not just small; it could be large enterprise businesses. But just this stat about SMEs, with the 34% of SMEs aren't clear about the digital tools, which digital tools are right for their needs. And when you consider at the start of 2021, there are over 5.5 million SMEs in the UK. That's a lot of businesses who don't have tech in place that help them grow. So they probably would just been told that they need it, but not actually why or had any thought process. And I know you can relate to kind of that later on down the line as well. And just a bit of on the right hand side there, the role of a new tech should make your employees' life easier, because the employees are the people, and I'm really hot on this. And again, we'll see the within the 5 Ps, but we're really hot on this in terms of people and how people make businesses grow rather than businesses make businesses grow. Because I'm a massive advocate of mental health awareness. As if people follow me who are watching this on LinkedIn, massive mental health advocate with that. And I just think this is just something that's been this overlooked daily in all sides of businesses, Cool, right. So let's move on then, and let's talk about the title as such. So the 5 Ps of digital transformation, and hopefully you're going to get a flavour of now of why they're 5 Ps. Hopefully it's a catchy title line. And as I said at the start, I'm really pleased to hear from you, Dom, your real life account, because you've lived and breathed this. Family-run business, small business, well run way before digital transformation even came a factor. However, we are in a new age. You've embraced it, your staff have embraced it, and whatever size the audience we have looking on today, but especially the SMEs among us, this should give them a great insight. Because remember, if you see there, we've got plan, partners, process, people, and proof. We've drawn it out as a road, and that's on purpose, because it depends on wherever you are in the start. You might not be at the start, so you might have already planned it, and you might already have partners in place, but you might not have the process. And I think that's really important, that even if you're in the middle of the road, you're looking forward, and you're saying, right, how do I build this road? Is it going to be straight? Are we going to have kinks in the road? How do we overcome them, etc., etc. So I'm really looking forward to this. And as I said, pump the chat with lots of questions for me and Dom. Doesn't matter who it's for, and we can get that answered for you. So let's move on to our first P. Now the first P is plan, and this is going to be talking about, and I'm going to hand over to Dom very shortly. This is talking about before you get anyone involved, but this is as a business where you start, where the planning stage, where do you start? And in different people's opinion, you don't necessarily start with, or in our opinion, you don't start with technology. You start with the problem, or a problem you're trying to solve in the short, medium, and long term. So Dom, this stage for you was quite interesting, because when we started talking, you spoke about your notepad, etc., etc. So quite keen to hear about this one again.
My my plan for when I first joined the family-run business 3 years ago, the plan was always to digitalize. The plan was always to automate and integrate. When that plan came to fruition, was all dependent on growth, dependent on time, dependent on projects, etc., etc. The actual physical plan came at 3 o'clock in the morning on my iPhone in the notes section, just because I always get innovation and innovative ideas at times when you least expect it. So, wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, can't get back to sleep. I know I've got an idea that we need to do on the digital automation integration piece.
I do it all the time. It's the best. It's the best time to do it. Best time.
So that was, I think people think that sometimes these plans have to be, written digital strategies and implemented across the business, and you do have to do that. You can't fly through an automation or a digital project trying to wing it. It just won't happen. There'll be certain things that fall down. But the initial vision for it, the initial kind of roadmap, so to speak, or the destination that you're going in, can literally be at different times during non-working times, and that's generally when people come up with good ideas. You hear it all the time, people in the shower coming up with good ideas, and they have to write it down. It just happens, and things come to you at different times. So we knew that we knew that we'd forecasted high growth. We knew that the growth was going to come. The business was in a really good position when I kind of took over from my dad, because he'd done all the groundwork with the relationship management and got the business into a really good place for us to capitalize on it. What we potentially didn't have was that infrastructure to be able to grow, for the business to grow with the forecasted sales. So we had a really manual, non-automated, very high human touch point process in terms of our end-to-end customer journey, that we needed something that was automated, and we needed something that wasn't just automated, that was integrated into financial packages that would just eliminate everything in terms of human touch points. So then we could create more time for ourselves to then focus on revenue generating in terms of customer engagement, and just give us that time back, because we had already stress tested through a small project our manual process, and while we got through it in a non so kind of productive way. So we know we had a 3-year vision to become digital. We'll never become completely paperless, because we've got so many funded projects that we deliver, which require wet signatures and things like that. But our internal processes could be. So if we could make that as automated and integrated as possible, that's then when we needed to create that partnership and a forward-thinking plan, because the vision was there. We just needed to bring it into fruition, and that's where we then came on to selecting the technology partner, which is the next stage in the 5 Ps, and that's where we came on to be united with you, Jack.
Yeah, and I think it's important, because I don't think business owners, directors, or anyone really has that time to reflect and then write these down. I mean, I'm constantly messaging Sadie, our marketing manager. Last night did the same thing. 12 o'clock at night, I just thought about it. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm putting enough. I'm stressing on my body. or my mind, I'm still having time for the family and everything like that. Like the whole thing of you must switch off, it's work in this, but it's that idea. And I think the other thing is important for the audience to hear there is the fact that you had a 3-year plan. You know, most people think, oh, digital transformation happens overnight, or your plans happen overnight. And I think when you space it out, it gives your you and your staff breathing space to fail as well as succeed, because you're going to fail in these plans. They're not all going to work to 100%. Nothing ever does.
And I think one of the things that you nailed on the head was you identified a problem before you then create a forward-thinking plan to overcome your issues. Yeah. Where we didn't really have a problem, we just forecasted the problem in line with growth, yeah. Which meant that we either had to invest in a system or invest in more people to then start to process more volume for a very unproductive manual process, which obviously we wouldn't do, because we're thinking about digitalization and thinking about kind of cost saving and waste reduction in non-value added activities. So automation is obviously where businesses should be aligning themselves to go. Yeah. And that's what we did to identify what the problem was, and then look at a solution to get rid of those problems that we got through digitalization and automation.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I like that a lot. So the second P, as you touched on, is obviously technology partners, or partners, as we call it. And sorry about that. That's a snack van. It's probably the worst time to do a webinar, but there you go. So for everyone that's hungry now, it's going to be like, I'm hungry. So there's loads of choices. Let's be honest. There's loads of choices, just like there's loads of choices for consultancy. There's just loads of choices for if you want to go to do your groceries or whatever it may be. But it's about how about knowing that business, you know, and about how they work, building up that relationship. Are you looking for an approach with a partner that's a hand-holding exercise? Like, have you the plan is then, right, what do I need? I've got some people in the organization that's been here from day dot. I've got some people in the organization that's new and really accustomed already to technology. You've got that blend between the two. I mean, I'm in the limbo. I mean, I'm 30. I'm in kind of that limbo where I can put my iPhone down, whereas my kids can't put the iPhone down. You know, we're in that kind of technology world that if I don't see it, some form of technology, I feel a bit weird about it. And I know the value. So I think, or do you then get a technology partner or some form of technology you just pull off the shelf? You know, you get a free trial and you pull off the shelf and you try and make it work. You know, so just obviously talk about your choices on that, and if you explored anyone else or whatever, and yeah, things like that.
Yeah. Naturally explored other organisations. I mean, for us, the key thing that we were looking for in terms of our technology partner and the partnership that we were going to create was that alignment to company values and alignment to business similarities. We're both a similar age. That helped. Yep. They were both from family-run businesses who's looking at taking over. You know, yep. That helped. So we were so aligned in terms of business values and business direction that actually the conversation when it came to talking about sales was not. It was a complete flexible approach to sales, in that you also position yourselves in terms of business support. You're here to support the business. We are here to support businesses as well. So the whole alignment from our company ethos and how we'd kind of positioned ourselves both now and forward thinking was really key in terms of that relationship building that we managed to create. I think the proven capabilities of your technology partner is also key. When we were looking for a technology partner, we didn't want an off-the-shelf system that we could pay a license for and use it and it'd be fine, but it wouldn't be bespokely created and integrated for our business processes. That works for some organizations, that works for some level of productivity, but when we were looking at creating a bespoke solution, that's where we needed that proven capability of what's our technology partner who we're looking at using. What have they done previously in industry? Have they kind of run a similar project as what's their case study saying, what's their client base saying, and is it a positive experience to get the most out of that integration piece that the business has looked for. The thing that really kind of helped us in terms of our project working with YourDMS was the ability to then listen to some of the challenges that we were having, because while our business processes and our automation isn't rocket science, you know, we run a relatively simple sales order process and invoicing process. You know, most businesses would have a similar process to us, but there is a lot of challenges because we've got a very diverse people base. So when we come onto the people element, we've not just got our own people in terms of Brook staff, we've got consultants, we've got customers as well, that we needed to create an engagement solution that fit for each one of our people, our quantified stakeholders. So the fact that the business was able to listen to those challenges that we were potentially going to have, plug the gap via the digital technology that you guys have got and that you can implement across our processes. But it wasn't just about the here and now, it was the forward thinking. You were listening to what we were going to be doing in the future, and could the product that we were looking at implementing now be a robust system for where we want to go in the future. And if it's not, then we were looking at creating a product that is future proof for the business, that we weren't then investing a lot of money into it and then having to change it further down the line. It was that forward thinking. And I think the main thing that was really good was we were looking at launching this pretty quickly, weren't we, John? We went, hang on, let's not do this now, because there's quite a lot of challenges that we're coming across that we hadn't thought about. Rather than launch this product now, we're going to have a few issues in a couple of months' time. Let's launch it in a couple of months' time and get it right first time. And it wasn't just about creating a product and getting it out there. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, don't worry about it. We've got a help desk who will sort it out. It was, we don't want you to ring our help desk. We want this product to be right first time. And you know, 99.9% of the product is right, isn't it? It's very much there. We've had a very small teething issue around, you know, an operational issue which we expected to get, and we sorted it out straight away. It was perfect. We couldn't have asked for anything more.
I think for just a couple of things on there. So difference between a bespoke and off-the-shelf system. A lot of people think bespoke is very expensive. They often think off-the-shelf is, oh, it's already ready to go. Well, in our world, in the document management, data management world that we're in, a bespoke system can just be changing a customization of a tag that you call a document, as an example. It doesn't need to be, you have to get a developer in that's costing £1,000 a day. They've quoted you for 365 days, which is expensive, and now you're getting everything tailored to you. It's those little touch points that make, I think, and as we said, we'll come on to this with the people element of it, people feel comfortable. And when you've got people involved, it goes beyond me and you. It goes with your 20 odd staff that you've got under your remit that need to feel comfortable, because at the end of the day, the buck stops with them. We could have the idea, so we could plan, you could find an idea, you can find a partner, and we can sit here and go, actually, this is how we would use it, but who are me and you? We ain't going to be using it, you know. That's just the be all and end all, and I think that's really important. And like I said, secondly, it's that I was talking to Neil, one of our technical guys, the other day on projects. No project hits time. No project gets. You all have this great idea that you're going to get it in within 2 weeks, but there's always going to be factors. That might just be factors of holidays, that might be sickness, but that also might be factors that actually, okay, we didn't actually think about that, and I forgot to tell you about this business rule or this sudden change, or you might have to, you actually were, you know, you have these ideas and they can change tenfold, you know. But that's the relationship. You've got to be able to be open and honest, jargon free, and sort of going through the process that way. And I mean,
we did change the spec quite a few times, not in terms of the concept was the same. Some of the processes, which we'll move on to, we changed. Some of the reporting we changed, and that was genuinely because, one, we probably didn't understand the complexity of what we needed to do, and you guys helped us work with us to understand it. But two, maybe some of the requirements changed as we were going through the project, because it was a good nine months worth of scoping out and building and user acceptance testing, and then we actually, no, let's change it. So the fact that it's a bespoke system and it was flexible for us to be able to change, then we wouldn't have been able to do that if we just bought a license for a project, for a product. We might have then been able to draft someone in to change it, but then it just wasn't that kind of trusted partnership that we were after. And it just proves that digital marketing works as well, Jack, because about a week after I had my vision on my iPhone, you sent me a message on LinkedIn, didn't you? And well, actually, this solution is going to be spot on for us. So anyone that's thinking about doing a bit of Premium Plus on LinkedIn, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, I highly recommend it for meeting someone like you, a company like you, and you know, it's that's where you get. It's just that initial reach out, no hard sell, no nothing, and yeah, it's true. I think let's for the audience, obviously we've got the process now, and I think now's the time where you now start thinking about the process. But do you want to just go through what's been implemented, or do you want me to go through? It's up to you. I mean, I'm happy to do so, but I think if you can just describe.
No, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off. No, I mean, I think it's important for everybody to know that we were an ISO 9, well, we still are, but before we engage with you guys, we're an ISO 9001 certified organisation. So in terms of our processes, we were relatively optimized anyway. While it was quite manual, we were still had standard operating procedures. We still stuck to those standard operating procedures, and we didn't deviate away from them. And if we did, it was a non-conformance. So I think what we really needed to do was look at how our processes were going to change from implementing digital, not because it's obviously a much more optimized system via a digital channel. So we kind of looked at how can we improve, what is working, what isn't working, and then really focus on the element that we focused on is what isn't working, because we can optimize that through digital to turn it from a negative to a positive. So the fact that we managed to identify kind of our current end-to-end process, we weren't looking to automate everything. I think it's the key thing to say. We didn't really need to automate the customer journey all the way from start to finish. We really wanted to automate the project management piece to make it less onerous on the clients to engage with us, and make it easier for supplier invoices and things like that. So obviously the processes that we were looking at optimizing and changing needed to be future-proof for the future growth that we've got within the organization, because we knew we had a number of contracts that were coming through. The spin-off of those contracts is then just going to keep our growth trajectory going in a positive way. So we kind of split our processes down into two. So our process one was our supplier invoices. Process two was the project management and documentation. So we created a bespoke engagement portal, which is on our website, for clients and consultants to log in to engage with us, to engage with the business support team. So it wasn't on Word, it wasn't on email, it wasn't on phone and things that got missing. It was a one-stop centralized communication portal between 2 or 3 parties. They had a complete audit trail. It had some infrastructure for document management. It was integrated to Sage. It was an all singing, all dancing system, and that's what we wanted to create the optimized processes for. So the process one on supplier invoices, we identified that we needed to change the processes for suppliers to evidence the purchase order number, if you remember, Jack. So we had a look to say, well, how can we integrate this? We give the clients the job numbers, but actually the job numbers aren't evidenced on our integration, which is on Sage. So we need to change our processes to make sure that we can integrate it by PO number to make sure that all the fields match. So then when a supplier uploads an invoice to us, then it matches the PO and it puts it straight on Sage, so we don't have to do the manual inputting. So that process change was a very subtle one, but it really allowed us to integrate and automate, and that's probably saved us about 60% just through changing that on our purchase order, so it goes straight onto Sage through the secure portal. So now when a consultant, for argument's sake, who's delivering a project for us, finishes a project, instead of sending it to our office manager, finance manager, they then take it off Word, input it onto Sage, upload it onto the portal, reference the PO number, And away you go, it's fully integrated. And that subtle process change, just to evidence a different number, has just allowed us to automate everything from the supplier invoices. Then when we're looking at the process 2, which is our project documentation, so interim and completion reports as that project's going along, we should, through the help of you, Jack, we then stripped out some of the data fields that we had on our standard document, which is our interim report. And I think it's important to say that we still use the same Word documents. It's just it's an editable PDF instead of it being on Word. So we haven't changed much. But what we did was we stripped out some of the data fields that if someone typed it in wrong, we then rejected it. But if they typed it in right, we didn't do anything with the data anyway. So we looked at them and went, do we need it? Yes or no? And it was a really simple flow chart, wasn't it? Do you need it? Yes. Do you need it? No. If it's a yes, we keep it in. If it's a no, we get rid of it. And that has then been able to kind of lean down our forms. It means that the consultants then have to put less information in because it's just generally information that isn't needed. And it just has then eliminated all the potential blockages that automation would bring if something doesn't match. So then we've leaned down the amount of touch points on the automation fields, which means that consultants spend less time inputting mandatory fields, and it makes it easier for the consultants' reports to then match an invoice so they get paid quicker. So it really has kind of eliminated that saving things in Z Drive and clicking and going through all that manual time that people spend on searching for documents. Now we've got an in-view management system that we can just literally type in the document name and it brings them all up. And the whole process management piece, while our process was relatively lean anyway, subtle changes really allowed us to optimize the automation across arguably the most important process for us, which is the project progression, because how else would we evidence what we actually do, which is consultancy and training and business support, without reports? So we needed to automate it, and those subtle process changes really allowed us to do that. And actually, coming back to the second P, which was our partner, while we do a lot of process management ourselves, it was really good to have that partner to help us on our process management to optimize and lean down, because while we are good at process management, when it comes to integration with a bespoke system, we think we know what we're doing, but actually that extra 10% of specialist knowledge really allowed us to make those changes, and we're really thankful for it.
And like I said, with the bit before, with the as you said, with the form, it was important for our perspective is you didn't change the form and you've too much, because you've got consultants, you've got clients alike that have been with you for years. As soon as you start changing make massive changes, which you don't actually need to do, then you start disrupting and training and everything like that then becomes harder and longer. And then also you've got the case of if nobody's filling anything in over the last sort of even a year, really, then they're not going to miss it. And that's the thing. It's the same old scenario. It's like you're hoarding information, just like you have a junk cupboard at home. I know we all have one, or a junk room or whatever. It's the same situation. You know, it should be a rule with that, because like I said, it can, as you quite rightly pointed out, that 10% that you're changing, again with the purchase orders as well, that little tweak, and that's got nothing to do with programming, that's got nothing to do with bespoke development. That's just our knowledge that we've been working with, like you said, over the years. It's just that allowed you to really take you to that next level.
Well, if you think about filling a Word document out that two parties have to sign, so the consultant who's delivered a project fills the top section out, physically hands it over to a client to then sign off to say, Brook has done 10 days worth of strategic work, and then the client then says, yes, Brook has done 10. That's in a nutshell what it was. It was signing off the work that's done. So we followed the same process when we were looking at automation. We just made sure that the document was on a secure portal. The consultant could only fill their section in, and the client could only fill their section in. So when one section was done, the other party, then got a notification to say your signature is required. They log on, they sign it, gets stored in a document management system, which is InView. really, really easy, simple process. But actually, when we're filling that out manually, the amount of times that we would get a document landing in our emails that's not even black and white, it's grey and white, it's been scanned that many times, it's lopsided, it's got a coffee mug on it, who's got control over that? It comes down to a control of your process. So actually automating everything means that secure logins, only the authorized parties can sign each section. We then keep control over it because we can see where things are at a certain stage. So just by creating that system and tweaking the process slightly to strip out some of the data fields has allowed us to, make at least 60% for ourselves, which has then allowed us to then kind of focus on that value-added activity of growth. So 100%, it was a really easy process, managing the process.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think let's move on. I'm cautious of obviously the time, but I'm sure people won't shoot us down because I'm enjoying this, and I hope everyone else is. So, and again, people can watch it on record if they have to jump off on the 40-minute mark. But people are massively, as I said, advocate for mental health. I believe what we're doing here at YourDMS can actually help people's mental health in work and out of work. We talk about stresses daily. We talk about enjoying your work. Grand old saying, if you find a job you like, you never work a day in your life. All of that sort of stuff is very easy to say, very hard to do. And I think systems and people have a lot to do with that. Management not just changing everything in one go, being one of them. And also then systems coming in, actually working to what you need it to do rather than you having to find loads of loopholes. So obviously with the, I did pick up a quote as well. I love a good quote as well with this is you don't build a business, you build people, and then the people will build the business. So everyone around you, you're building them up to then build your business as a director. And it's that grand old scenario, you're leading by example. So Dom, just obviously, I know you've got clients, you've got consultants, you've got obviously business support, you've got yourself, you've got lots of people that are involved with this process, if you like. Challenges you thought you were going to have, you had with people, and how you overcome them.
So we split our people down into 3 categories. So we've got the Brook business support team, who are the directly employed Brook staff, Brook consultants, who are associates that do the delivery, and then the Brook clients, who are ultimately the end user that sign off. That are all 3 stakeholders, or all 3 people categories, are all as crucial as each other in our process, because one flows into the other and one flows into. And if we have one of those stakeholders that don't buy in, the whole process falls down. So while we put a big emphasis on internal, we also then put just as big an emphasis on external stakeholders, because we were all part of the same cog, and we just didn't want one to fail. So I'm a huge advocate for staff ownership of these kind of transformation projects. And we only have 5 staff members employed directly via Brook, so it's really easy for us to control that, rather than it being hundreds. Obviously, with it being hundreds, then you've got another challenge which comes in the form of time and resource. But my vision was to instill that ownership and have the staff own it. So it wasn't just my idea that I was saying run with this system. It was my idea. But I was then saying, right, when we're coming to create this product, you guys are going to be involved in this all the way through, so you can create ownership, because how I would do something within finance might actually not be the best way to do something in finance, and actually on the ground, we need to optimize it. So the staff really invested their time into change, and that's really what I wanted. It built excitement. It instilled that kind of development and support culture within the organization, and it made us realize that we are doing the right thing, and we're doing things differently in comparison to some of our competitors. Like even some of our competitors now still send me manual documents to sign, because we do work in collaboration with some of our competitors, and it just makes me realize how much further advanced we are in terms of our digital infrastructure than what some of our competitor organizations are. The Brook consultants really needed to kind of buy into the change, because some of them have been working with us for 10 years, and all of a sudden we're asking them to do something differently, which everyone knows that people do embrace change, but sometimes people embrace things at different speed. So I needed to kind of also instill that change culture into the consultants as well, to embrace it, to follow the new process rather than then sending Word documents into us because we weren't accepting them anymore. But actually, our consultants are just as much client facing as what our business support team are. If the consultants aren't aligned or see any form of weakness in the system, would that message then stem onto the clients, which means that they won't use it? So we wanted to eliminate that as well. So we did 5 training sessions over 2 weeks, drop in and out. Some consultants came on 2 or 3 times, some came on once. And then our clients are really the last piece of the puzzle, really. So this is probably one of the biggest challenges that we had. We've got 28 consultants that work for us, 5 support staff, 35 people, quite easy. We've got 150 active clients at any one time that we're delivering projects in. They're all over the place. They're all in the north of England. We trying to control them and trying to get them to embrace change across such a vast, diverse client base, all the way from global organizations to SMEs. It is really, really hard to send that message out. And obviously they're the final piece in the puzzle to sign the reports off. So the clients for us in terms of the people were what we envisaged to be the biggest challenge, but actually, because they're so loyal customers to us and we've got that business support infrastructure and this communication channel allowed us to communicate really freely, it was relatively straightforward. And we assigned a point of contact, so a special point of contact for all portal related queries in terms of the business support team. It then promoted that open communication channel with our customers, and actually some of the customers that we'd not worked with for a while, we still put them onto the portal because then we wanted to stimulate those conversations with them from a purely relationship management point of view. So we ran 5 development sessions over 2 weeks as well, and we did some on-site development work for some of the clients to show them the portal. It was really, really, really straightforward, time consuming, but quite a bit straightforward because we always had a solution for them.
But I think as well, you obviously you did your YouTube videos, and I know for myself how many times you go onto YouTube, and I don't know, it could be anything, it could be DIY at home. You look at Google it, that's it. Go onto YouTube. You've provided that platform for your clients, your staff, your all of the above.
Tutorial videos,
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really important. Like you said, time consuming. It is. I do videos a lot, and it is time consuming. But I think it's really, really important. That's the second snack van, by the way. So we move on to proof. So finally, this is the final piece. So the proof is this is when you look back, and I think it's important to do so, especially in your case, Dom, for what the groundwork you've put in. You had the idea, you brought people on board. And I think this is overlooked as well, in the sense of look back and see what you've achieved and provided for your business and staff. So yes, they've got to get buy-in. You've got to convince them. You've kind of got to be. I've convinced you. You've then got to convince everyone else that this is a good idea. And as I said, you thought you might have been at a losing battle potentially with some people, in the sense of they've been doing this a long time. How will they cope with it? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? And I think the reflection on this, especially from a mental health perspective, is key. But then not only that, is highlighting the next improvement. So you're already looking at other things, you're discussing with other things with us as well, which is fantastic. But I think you're looking at the next way that, okay, I did this right. There were some negatives in it. We can improve on here, because we all can. And I think the self-evaluation on businesses are critical on a personal and business level. And I think the technology partner with the moving forward should provide you with that. So going back to what I said about the proof with the off-the-shelf or hand-holding exercise, who's in it for the long haul, and who's ready to elevate your brand as much as they're elevating their own brand. That's what we're all about. I've recommended a lot of our customers on a personal level to people that need their services, because it's the right thing to do, and I like them as people. That's what we're all about. So just talk a little bit about proof in terms of
proof has been obviously we only launched it kind of late last year, but we've got so much evidence that this has been the right solution for us, just purely in time benefits, purely in capacity, purely in kind of the level of engagement that we can have with organizations. So for example, when we first started engaging with you, Jack, we were probably about 500-600k turnover. You know, we're pushing 1.2, 1.3 mil now, and that's in such a short space of time. It's not because the portal's then just given us all this extra sales. That's not it. What it's done is it's gave us that foundation. It's gave us that platform to increase our turnover twofold. It's really been an unbelievable platform for us to showcase how innovative and forward thinking and doing things different of a business that we actually are. We created the portal because we have got such a good offering, but when we're looking at SEO and traffic to our website, we're thinking about how can we generate more traffic to the website? How can we get people to see what we do and be that shop front window? What better way than a customer that's already using you to go onto your website to use the portal, to then have a little rummage around to see everything else that you do. Our SEO traffic's gone up by about 80-90% in the last 6 months, because we do work with a digital partner, but we can see the click-through rates that go from the portal and then off the portal onto some of our other service pages. And because we've just centralized everything, that we use the shop front window of our website for customers to engage with us, and actually generate so much more brand awareness and gives us such a more footfalls of people who are not necessarily the stakeholders within the business that we're engaging with on a project level, but some of the managers, they're also going in to sign off documents that can actually see what we do for some of their own self-development. So it's really good from that side of things. And just, to finish off, this digital transformation project for us has just given us ownership of our business back. So we were heavily reliant on the consultants to send stuff in, and we never really knew when it was coming back. Now we have full visibility of everything. We know we are in control of everything. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to be able to create more time for ourselves, but then put the onus back on us as a business to own the process from start to finish. And through the help of you guys, Jack, we've been able to do that, and it's given us the visibility of what we need and what we need to do to keep continuous improvement and keep growing. So I look forward to the next project, whatever that might be.
Yeah, definitely, mate. No, I appreciate that, and as I do, I think let's from certainly from my perspective, it has been really. Well, it's been interesting to hear it from your own words. Obviously, we've spoken before. Everyone would say he's probably paid him to say all these nice things. I really haven't, but it's a good thing in the sense of to hear how it's benefiting your business. Yes, figures are great, revenue are great, but as I said, I'm a big advocate for people. I'm really happy that people. You've got so diverse people in your organisation have really taken to this. Your clients have taken to it. Your percentages have gone up on your website. All of those things that we wanted to set out and achieve, and as you said, in such little time, is really good. And I think, like I said, testament to you for being the person you are with your staff. I really do. I do mean that, because it has been a breath of fresh air that you haven't just gone, right, I've got this idea, I'm passing it on to this person to deal with, and I've actually engaged with you the whole way through. Yes, in organizations, you can't talk to the MD all the time. I get that. I'm a director myself, we're all busy. But I think you've got to have an idea and see it through, rather than just having the idea and just plonking it on someone else. So it has been really good. And I hope people have liked what they've seen today and heard from Dom and myself. So I think we'll head to questions now. Sadie, I don't know whether we've got any questions. So I'll bring Sadie on and see if we've got any questions. Have we got any questions, Sadie?
Yes, we have got a couple.
Okay.
The first one, when it comes to digital transformation, are there any particular challenges which accountants need to be aware of when trying to move to a virtual and digital practice?
Sorry, the first part cracked up a bit. Can you just say that one more time?
When it comes to digital transformation, are there any particular challenges which accountants need to be aware of when trying to move to a virtual and digital practice?
Very good question. I think yes, similar to what Dom's spoken about in a way. It's all about the organisation. Obviously, in accountancies, you're dealing with clients is external as well, so it's about how you get information to them. In fact, the portal we're talking about with Dom as well is very, very good with accountants. So the transfer of documentation backwards and forwards from client to the accountancy practice. So yeah, I think the challenges we found certainly with accountants is their clients. So some clients might be older, they're not adverse to taking on technology, so they don't necessarily have access to computers, etc. So you may have to have an approach where you're doing half and half. So some may send it via post, but at least then you as a business can then scan the document in and you can start the process on their behalf. Does that make sense? So it's kind of that kind of way, in the sense of you might have to cater for, you're doing a kind of 80-20, 60-40 rule where 40% of your clients might not have that capability. You have to kind of look at that and sort of yeah, be mindful really. So I hope that answers your question. If it hasn't, I mean, hook me up on LinkedIn and we can potentially have a chat. But
I can throw a little thing in there as well, Jack. Obviously, it's not so much our sector, but you know, given the level of sensitivity of data that you're going to be transferring between two parties, the system DocSafe that we use, that Jack and his team helped kind of implement it on our website, is ISO 27001 certified, because we do have bank details and things like that, and sensitive information that's getting transferred in between various different organisations. So I'd certainly 100% consider the level of cyber security that you're going to have on your digital transformation when you're moving forward, because that could really open not just you guys up, but your clients up for certain breaches and personal information potentially getting into the wrong hands about relatively sensitive business information. So I know you probably elaborate on that on a one-to-one, Jack, but I'd certainly consider that. It's a big thing to consider.
Definitely. Yeah, no, good question. Thanks. Anything else, Aid?
Yeah, the next question, is there funding available to all SMEs for these kinds of projects? And how would I find out about the funding options in my area?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, absolutely. There's funding for. It depends on your area. I know we've got probably a relatively large geographical reach of businesses that are on today. The best kind of business support infrastructure, business support platform to get in touch with would be your local growth hub. There's always business grants or innovation digital grants that are available, but it's all dependent on regions. So for example, we're based in Barnsley. We've got a kind of South Yorkshire mayoral combined authority that brings Sheffield, Barnsley, Rotherham and Doncaster all together, but it's then devolved into the same area. So Barnsley Council have a digital innovation grant, which actually supported us as a small SME business support provider with 50% of the cost towards doing this project with YourDMS, which actually at the time we wouldn't have done it without the grants. We simply wouldn't have done it without the level of support. We know we needed to do it, but that's why the match funding really helped us be the catalyst to do it. So I'd recommend any organisation just Googling whatever city you're in and then write growth hub next to it. Get in touch with one of the kind of innovation or growth hub advisors, whatever they're called in the area, and they're called kind of regional action plan advisors in South Yorkshire, and they'll be able to then come out and have a look at various different funding options for you, whether that be through another business support platform that they could help get a capital expenditure grant for, or something internal that they can help pull down some costs together to the cost of the full project for you.
Perfect. No, I think it's good. Yep. Anything else, Eddie?
Yeah, one more question. How does Dom harvest improvement ideas and system development opportunities from his staff?
So the way that we did it with this project was we did facilitated workshops. So we did have a look at our process maps that we had in terms of our standard operating procedures that we were currently operating against. Have a look at what our ideal situation would be via automation, via the platform. And we did a facilitated workshop, gap analysis workshop, to say, this is where we're at now, this is where we want to be. What steps do we need to take, or what can we get rid of in terms of non-value added activity from the process that we're operating at this current moment in time? And that then stimulated, well, if we can strip out some of these non-value added activities in our process and innovate, then that, once we get to the end point, which is the destination that we were looking at getting to, that's at that point is where we then go, right, Jack, this is where we need to create this solution. So it was very much round table, everybody involved, stripping down our current process and then looking at the destination that we wanted to go to, which then created ideas. And it wasn't just all me saying, this is where we need to go. Diane, finance manager, went, well, actually, we do things slightly different in terms of the standard operating procedure we've got now and where we want to go. So actually, if we could strip this out, this would really help me in my role to automate my position. Christian did exactly the same in terms of who works kind of closely with Diane in finance, to say, if I had this set up, I'd really like to implement this in the portal. So those group facilitated workshops were really, really instrumental into innovating our processes, and it just instilled that ownership of a business support team, and it really did make us create the right solution rather than just automating what we already had.
Cool. That's it. Yeah, Said?
Yes, that's it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for that. So obviously, next steps with this, if you do have any more questions you haven't quite thought about and you jot them down, or like I said, you're watching this on record and you think, oh, actually, we need to ask them, then email me. If there's something for Dom, I'll get Dom involved as well. It's not a problem. So yeah, if whether you're on the journey of your digital transformation or you want some advice of how Dom did it in terms of integrating, you've got a system already and you want to know some tips. Like I said, there are some free handouts. You don't get anything for free at the moment, certainly now. So there's free handouts. So there's a copy of this presentation, as you'll see. I might add, yeah, so copy of Dom's company brochure. There's the YourDMS document portal, which we've been talking about today, document management overview, and also strategy guide that we like to put some hints and tips in of our thing, especially with the accountancy question. We do work with a lot of accountants. So yeah, and then obviously plus you get the link to the webinar tomorrow. So just one last thing on our next webinar, if you like this one. So on Thursday the 12th of May, 2 p.m, we're looking at 5 steps to improve your AP process. So from good to great, so not bad, because we don't think everyone's bad. It's from good to great. So you'll join me and only me on this one, where we'll be covering building on what you already have, making your data go further, empowering your forward thinkers, so your people, simplifying, streamlining using technology, and the benefits to your brand, as Dom has spoken about similar today. So if that sounds like a bit of you above, then this webinar is definitely for you. So details are all on our social media, so you can follow Brook Corporate Developments on LinkedIn as well, and also YourDMS, and then hit me and Dom up on LinkedIn if you need to. But thank you all for joining. Sorry it's gone over a bit, but I'm not sorry, because I think it's been a great chat, and I hope you've all enjoyed it. Thank you, Dom. I really appreciate your time.
No problem.
And I'm sure you will, well, we'll just talk soon anyway. So yeah, thanks for all for joining, and stay safe, stay well, and yeah, speak to you next time. Thank you.